welcome to this week's edition of Business Today, right here on WRAL.com. I'm Jeremy Salemson, your host, and it is certainly my pleasure and honor to have with us in the studio today author extraordinaire, Mr. Art Chansky. Art, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good to be here.
Well, it's good to have Art here, and the reason we brought Art in, and really for a couple of reasons. One, Art has written 6 books on the UNC-Duke rivalry, which, as we know, is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rivalry in sports athletics today. But specifically, we're talking about technology and the integration of more of a traditional medium into sort of this new e-medium, if you will, and this e-reader. So let's talk about that. The book is called Blue Blood, if you will, and sort of a newer rendition electronically. What was the inspiration behind the book, and then also sort of the putting this book into an electronic format?
Well, it's called Digital Blue Blood, the greatest rivalry in history of college hoops, and I think the history behind it is that because of the new formats, the iPad and the iPhone, and their popularity, their growing popularity, it was a way to take what is really a textbook with some picture sections in it and turn it into an electronic coffee table book,
right,
where people can have it and thumb through it and have the images that would be just standard images in a book come to life. In the early parts of the book, they'll blow up so you can see them bigger. In the later parts of the book, they might turn into video and
very cool.
with some audio behind them.
So much more of an interactive experience, if you will, for sort of the modern day reader.
Absolutely, good way to describe it.
Now, were you? It looks like you're a leader in this particular medium as well. Obviously, the iPad itself is one of the e-readers. Has only been out a few months as well. What really prompted you to want to get into being a leadership position for this role?
Well, it really was Hassan Pinto and GreatestFan.com. Their company have been on the cutting edge of this kind of technology for years, and Haas has said to me, let's take Blue Blood and do sort of an abridged version built for the iPad and see if we can make it come to life, because iPads are selling so well every single month. There are more iPad owners, and take it to a medium where instead of just sitting and reading a book, the book itself comes to life.
Absolutely. And then you talk about a partnership with Greatest Fan. It's GreatestFan.com, put together by Hassan Pinto, obviously, local UNC grad himself, played soccer there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those guys seemingly have embraced modern technology with the proliferation of all of these different mediums as well. Are you just looking at the iPad, or is this going to be available for all e-readers going forth as well?
Well, I think right now the iPad and the iPhone, and then who knows what Haas has in mind after that, because, again, he knows 100 times more about it than I do, and we've had fun trying to get it into the iPad format, and we've got a great designer in Juan Pons, and he takes the copy that I write and the images that we submit, and he puts it into a format that literally you can turn the pages with a thumb and then touch a picture and make that picture come alive.
Well, and you mentioned that much more intuitive functionality, if you will, for people today. And obviously, it's a generational piece. And this, I think, is how people are going to be reading content going forth, if you will. What are some of your favorite features now? You talked about the video aspect, just the ability to turn a page electronically with your finger. Anything else?
Yeah, no question. And I think to jump around, for example, the key to this particular digital book is going to be, it is a chronology.
Yeah.
It begins when the rivalry began in 1920. It actually talks about when football began at Duke and Carolina in 1888. But as we go through each volume, it's chronological, but each volume itself will have a Duke Carolina Today sidebar.
Okay.
For example, in the first volume of the book talks about 1920 through 1940, but it also has a feature that previews the 2010-11 Duke Carolina teams, and actually talks about what might happen in 2012
in the future classes as well.
And then that'll be available where you can have history, and then you want to read about today's rivalry, you just you hit a link and it comes up. And subsequently, each volume, while talking about the history of it, will also have a current Duke Carolina Today feature. Like, we'll talk about how both teams got off to a start in 2010-11 season, how they got off in the ACC race. Then there's that first game on February 9th in Durham, and the grand finale on March 5th in Chapel Hill. So all of those will be covered interactively as we release these volumes.
Well, and that's some